guys.
Hello from Iowa.
Hello, gorgeous.
Iowa. Oh, are you from Iowa? Oh, very nice. All right. So, which one's Jason? That's Jason and Michael. Okay, that's how I have your names here, so I'll know that. All right. Let's say that we were at a Dixie Longate show, and you sent her a message saying, "Hey, you'd like to hook up with her, but she turned you down." All right. So I'm your second choice. What is your tell me who you are and what you want me to know? Let's start with Jason.
Oh, okay. Well, what I want you to know is that we own a Frank Lloyd Wright designed American system built home in Iowa, but we also live in Chicago.
You lost me at we. You lost me at we. You know, tell me about you.
Oh, just me alone. Oh, okay then. So I started my career as a butler for a wealthy family in the suburbs of Chicago, and that's where I really found my love of homes and home keeping. A few years later,
How does one become a butler?
Well, this was a while ago. 20 years. So I saw a classified ad and I responded, and it was legit. And so I was hired to be basically the house husband to the lonely wife of a wealthy man. And so, the rest is history.
How long were you a butler?
2 years, and I didn't like being the help, as it turns out. I wanted to have help of my own instead.
Of course.
We still have not gotten help at any point in the past 20 years, so I probably should have just stuck with being the help, but,
So what did you do after butlering?
So then I was an editor at Apartment Therapy, a nesting blog.
Apartment Therapy. That company did the video of Charles Bush's apartment. Oh yes, I'm familiar with that. Which Russell and I were happy or lucky enough to see in person at one time. So, that's cool. Apartment Therapy. Ooh, I like that.
And then I left there, and then we bought this house, and then I've been blogging about this house and our renovations of the house. And then my day job is doing digital marketing for a packaging company back in Chicago.
What do they package?
Everything. They sell bottles, cans, any sort of packaging you can possibly want.
Oh, cool. All right. Biodegradable, I hope.
Oh, natch, of course.
All right, Michael. We're at a Dixie Longate performance, and you've struck out with Dixie, and you're stuck with me. So tell me about yourself.
Well, after those early, very Downton Abbey years with Jason, where I was the kept man, kept downstairs, I blossomed and bloomed and entered the world as a mentor for young people with autism, and I continue that wonderful work. But beyond that, I had the great fortune of befriending a fabulous, marvelous 90-plus-year-old gay American artist named Bernard Perlin. We became fast friends through the last years of his life. And
okay. Hold time out. Let's tell people who he was.
So, Bernard Perlin was an artist who really came to attention during World War II, designing propaganda posters, and then as a war artist correspondent. He, however, had been denied service due to professing publicly his homosexuality. He also didn't want to fight the war, but he instead painted it with his paintbrush and made his own valuable contribution to the effort, and then became a pretty well-known and well-regarded artist throughout the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and moved in some pretty high circles. Knew everybody who was anybody during his time, and together we worked on a long-form interview, which became a book about his life, and it's now being adapted into a documentary film. So
how exciting!
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm glad to see him become known, better known, and to have a litlittle hand in helping to tell his story. And
Now, how did you meet him? How did you meet him?
I wrote him a fan letter. I had seen his name threaded through a number of books that I was reading then about this extraordinary circle of mid-century gay artists, of which he had been a part. He was the last living member of that group. I was astonished to find out that he was still living. I tracked him down. I just wrote a letter. He called me. Flurry of phone calls between us then ensued until he finally invited me out to his home in Connecticut, and I hopped on a plane and went. And that's how it all came together, remarkably. And
So had you written anything before?
Just little things here and there, but nothing. I'd never undertaken anything as major as putting together a book. It really came together fairly organically, and it unfortunately it came out after his passing, so he wasn't able to appreciate it and see it, but it received some accolades, and some great attention was brought to his work because of it, and it set me off on an unexpected new side career, managing his artistic estate, promoting his work, and now writing about other artists of his era.
Oh wow, we'll have to have another show all about that.
Well, absolutely, it's a big topic.
So Jason, how did you meet Michael? Was it at a Dixie Longate show?
How did I meet Michael?
Yes. Oh, yes. How did you meet Michael?
Yes, I met Michael in a bar in the 20th century, and we locked eyes across the room. I was sitting.
Okay, where was the bar? Where was the bar?
This was a bar in Chicago. It no longer exists.
In Boys Town.
It was called Spin. As Michael likes to tell the story, I came in. And
wait. Did you say spins or spits?
Spin.
Spins. Okay.
Yeah.
As Michael likes to tell the story, I came in. I sat under a spotlight with my black turtleneck, and I pulled out my journal.
Wait. I should tell the story. I was having a little Leonardo DiCaprio fixation during that period of time. He was in this movie called Total Eclipse about Arthur Rimbaud, the gay French poet. And so I'm in this bar. It's like 1 a.m, no luck. I'm ready to go. I'm with some friends. I'm just disillusioned. Forget it. And then this one walks in, comes in across the bar, sits down under a spotlight, orders a martini, and then pulls out his journal and starts writing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we locked eyes across the way. I went to the restroom. He was gone. We met again at the coat check, and we've been inseparable ever since.
Then he told me in the coat check line, his opening line was, "I just saw the most wonderful Italian movie tonight, and it made me cry." Oh, God. He had me on the hook. It was a one-night stand, and neither of us ever left it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cute. So cute. All right. Many years later, you buy a Frank Lloyd House home.
Yeah.
Building. How did that come about?
The most roundabout way possible. We were looking for a small cabin within a 2-hour drive of Chicago. We ended up finding this delightful little 2-room cabin in Spring Green, Wisconsin, which is where Taliesin is. And like so over the moon about this cabin and being, in Spring Green and like in the shadow of Frank Lloyd Wright. Well, it turns out the cabin had a homemade septic system that during the inspection, they said, we're actually surprised we didn't fall into the holding tank and basically into a pile of human waste. So we were like, okay, yeah, we're done here. Bye-bye. We are not buying this house. unbeknownst to me, while we were looking at that house, this mister had been looking at this house.
Yeah, I was playing around on the side. And I found this house, which didn't meet any of our criteria.
It met the opposite of our criteria. It's 5 hours from Chicago. It's a big house. It's over 100 years old. And it's in a small town. None of those things are what we wanted. We wanted rural, we wanted tiny, we wanted modern. But
we wanted some place we could go out and be naked in the woods.
Yeah.
And well, I guess we could do that here, but we would shock the locals.
So
I think we've got some. I think we've got some pictures of the house. So you bought the house. So we'll jump to that.
I finally told Michael, let's just go out and see the house, get it out of your system. It was an awful drive out. We hit this like awful blinding rain and had to pull over like twice. And yet within 5 minutes of walking in the door, I said, we have to buy this house. So we did. And that was 8 years ago. And we've been slowly rehabbing. We started on the first floor. And so we've completed all the first floor projects. This is a photo of the house in its very 1980s interior. And this is the house today with the much more Wrightian lines and furnishings. And
Now, were you aware or a fan of Wright before you bought the house? Or was it just...
Well, I mean, living in Chicago as we also do and have for several decades, you can't help but bump into Wright's architecture and legacy. So it wasn't that we were avid fans, but we were certainly appreciative of it, of his work. The fact that we could take on the stewardship of a house with its history and its pedigree was really fun. A fun idea for us. And we love the house. We fell in love with the house.
How would you describe Wright's work? If you said, oh, Wright does this, or Wright looks like this.
Well, of this era, it's the prairie style. So it's very boxy, clean lines. You can see the banding around the outside of the house, the corner windows.
The windows really, everything expresses Wright's. He had a philosophy called organic architecture, which was about bringing the outdoors in. So in every room you're in this house, you're in relationship with what's happening outside, the nature that's happening outside with the windows, which are just absolutely stunning. We have art glass windows. There's wood everywhere and just beautiful wood lines everywhere that draw the eye where he wants you to go. I mean, you're constantly feeling manipulated. It's as though the house is alive in some ways and always somehow moving you where it wants you to be and go, or your eyes.
What prompted you to write the book?
Well, we've always been house romantics. Any apartment that we've ever lived in, we've always sat around, maybe drinking a little bit, and say, gosh, I really wish we could see like who lived here, what happened here throughout the years. And when we bought this house, because it's in a small town in Iowa, we were able to connect with every single person, or if they were dead, and their relatives who have lived in this house over the years. And so we were collecting their stories, also collecting the history of Frank Lloyd Wright's American system-built homes, because it was kind of a lost era of his work. And as we were collecting it and blogging about it, a book just felt natural.
Oh, that sounds lovely. I can see a movie. I can see a musical about of the history of that house. That's with Harold Hill coming through.
But like then?
Yes, not now.
You've got some news tonight. So tell us the next step about the house.
We have some bittersweet news. After almost 9 years and hundreds of thousands of miles on our cars' odometers driving back and forth from Iowa to Chicago, we've made the decision to sell the house and open us up to be able to travel to visit more famous American homes. And of course, our first stop is going to be at Satan's Anus for lunch. because
Because,
you can't pass that up. So yeah, we're hoping to expand the blog into more famous American homes. Part of what I did at Apartment Therapy was called house tours, and so I would go into homes and photograph them, and it was a part of that job that I really loved. And so we kind of want to return to that and be able to get out. And if anything, if we learned anything from the past 2 years of the pandemic, is that we tend to choose to want to be home a lot, but now after that, if we can get out and go enjoy life.
Yes.
Well, you guys, I admire your relationship. I admire your drive and the way things have just happened for you. That is so cool to see. Thank you so much. And we'll have you back to talk about some of your other projects as well. But good. Oh, okay. So how much are you selling the house for? What's the selling price?
It's listed for $140, which doesn't seem like a lot, especially when we're from Chicago. But mind you, this is a very small town in a very remote part of Iowa. So,
but $140, that wouldn't buy
breath
an
of air.
outhouse here in Burlington.
Coffee in New York, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah. Where's the closest airport?
That would probably be Cedar Rapids, Iowa,
or Madison,
Wisconsin, which are both 2 hours in different directions.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe 140 is a little overpriced. Thank you so much, guys. Great meeting you. And we will talk again. Oh, fascinating meeting these people every week here on Amber Live.